Before she ever spoke a word, heaven had already whispered her name. Long before the world ever noticed her, God had seen her, chosen her, and prepared her for something eternal. She was not born by chance. She was born through promise, through prayer, through the quiet longing of two faithful hearts. This is the story of Mary, a little girl born not just for a moment, but for a mission. Each part of Mary's story includes a quiet moment for reflection, a sacred pause to listen, to feel, and to draw closer to God. Mary was born to Joachim and Anne, a couple who had prayed for years in silence. Their arms had been empty for so long. Their home was quiet, but their hearts were full of hope. People around them may have whispered, "They are too old. God has forgotten them." But heaven was not late. God was preparing a miracle, not just for them, but for the world. And then, she came, a baby wrapped in grace. A child not born by chance, but born through promise. Mary was more than a daughter. She was the answer to generations of longing at just 3 years old. She was brought to the temple, not to be shown off, but to be offered completely, wholly, joyfully, to the Lord. And there, in sacred silence, she grew, not in fame or noise, but in purity, obedience, and wonder. She didn't yet know she was chosen. But heaven did. Heaven had always known. Not every miracle begins with thunder. Some begin in stillness. Take this moment to reflect. In the hidden places, God prepares great things. For the Lord sees not as man sees. Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. When no one is watching, He's still working. My Father is working still, and I am working. John 5:17. Silence is not absence. It's formation. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Mary said nothing, but her life spoke everything. Blessed are those who hear the word of God and keep it. Luke 11:28. She was unseen, but fully known by heaven. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1-5. Obedience in secret echoes in eternity. Whoever is faithful in a very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. What the world overlooks, heaven treasures. He has looked with favor on his lowly servant. Luke 1:48. How many times have you felt unseen, unimportant? Like your childhood, your pain, your prayers didn't matter. But the story of Mary shows us this. God sees what the world doesn't, and He prepares in silence what will one day change everything. If you've ever felt invisible, write in the comments, "God sees me." Like this video, share it with someone who needs to be reminded. Your hidden story is holy, just like Mary's. One moment can change everything. One word yes can echo through eternity. And it all began, not with thunder, but with the quiet flutter of angel wings. A young girl, a quiet village, a divine invitation whispered in the stillness. And one answer that changed the world forever. Mary lived in quiet Nazareth, a village most people forgot. She lived simply, far from attention. Perhaps she was gathering water or sweeping the floor when heaven broke through the veil of ordinary. Suddenly, light filled the room. The archangel Gabriel stood before her, radiant, peaceful, and powerful. His voice, gentle yet divine, echoed words no one had ever heard before.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you.
Mary froze, not with doubt, but wonder. What did this mean? How could someone like her carry such a message? Then came the impossible news. She would bear a son, not just any son, but the Son of the Most High. Confusion filled her eyes, but so did faith. She asked, "How can this be?" And the angel answered with heaven's reassurance.
The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you.
In that moment, Mary had a choice: to cling to fear or step into the unknown with trust. And then, the greatest act of surrender in history. Be it done to me according to your word. And with that yes, the word became flesh, and heaven came to earth. Let us pause now to sit with this moment, to reflect on the silence, the surrender, and the yes that changed history. God doesn't shout. He visits in silence. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. He doesn't force, he invites. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Revelation 3:20. And he waits for your yes. Let it be to me according to your word. Luke 1:38. Mary didn't know all the answers, but she knew the one who asked. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Proverbs 3-5. She didn't have control, but she gave her heart. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Psalm 51:10. Heaven waited for one response, and earth was never the same. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. John 1:14. Have you ever felt like God is calling you to something bigger? Something that feels beyond you? Too risky, too unclear, maybe even too holy. Mary knew how that felt. She was young. She had questions. But she trusted. She didn't ask for a full plan. She didn't wait until it made sense. She simply opened her heart and said, yes. Faith doesn't mean having it all figured out. It means stepping forward anyway. Because you trust who is calling. Like Mary, you don't need to know everything. You just need to say, here I am, Lord. If you're in a season of uncertainty, don't wait for clarity to say yes. Let this be your moment of surrender. Write in the comments, "Lord, I say yes." Share this with someone who may need that same courage. And don't forget to subscribe if you feel this story can give you courage. Because just like Mary, your surrender might change everything. She carried heaven within her womb. She bore the promise, the light, the Word made flesh. But when the moment came, there was no room. Not in the inns, not in the world, and yet, in the smallest, most forgotten place, love made his entrance, wrapped not in silk, but in straw and surrender. Mary, now nearly full term, walked the cold, rocky roads to Bethlehem. Every step must have ached. Every breath, a prayer. Joseph led her through crowded streets, but every door was closed. No room, no space, no welcome. And yet, God had made a way. In a quiet corner of the world, a stable stood ready. Among animals, straw, and the smell of earth, heaven entered earth. No trumpet, no throne, no royal celebration. Just the cry of a newborn. And the arms of a teenage girl wrapped around the Creator. Mary looked at him. Tiny, wrinkled, needing her. And somehow, she knew this was no ordinary child. This was the promise, now crying in her arms. Now, take a moment. Step into the silence of that night and let your heart reflect on what really happened. Great things are born in humble places. Though he was rich, yet for your sake he became poor. 2 Coríntios 8:9. God chooses the lowly to bring down the mighty. He has lifted up the lowly and cast down the mighty from their thrones. Luke 1:52. She didn't understand it all, but she loved him fully. Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. Luke 2:19. He came quietly, not with power, but with presence. And she gave birth to her firstborn son and laid him in a manger. Luke 2:27. The King of Kings entered through a teenage girl's yes. Be it done to me according to your word. Luke 1:38. He chose straw over silver, and still reigns forever. He was laid in a manger, because there was no room at the inn. Luke 2:27. Have you ever felt unprepared? Too small, too weak? Like you have nothing to offer? So did Mary. She didn't have a room. She didn't have wealth. She didn't have understanding. But what she did have was herself. God didn't choose her for her ability. He chose her for her availability. And sometimes, the most powerful offering you can give Is your emptiness your yes? Your heart wide open? If you feel small today, if you feel like what you have isn't enough, you're in the perfect place to be used by God. Write in the comments, "God, you can use me." Because God isn't looking for the strongest. He's looking for the surrendered. Not all parts of the holy story are wrapped in peace and stillness. Some begin with fear, with the sudden need to run. Mary had just welcomed her child, the Son of God, into the world. But peace did not last long. A warning came in the night. They were in danger. And so, the Holy Family fled under the stars, not to celebrate, but to survive. This too was part of the plan. The night was still. The baby Jesus lay asleep in his mother's arms. When Joseph awoke with a start, he had been warned in a dream. Herod was coming. The child was in danger. They had to leave now. No time to wait. No time to ask why. Just go. Go far. Go fast. To Egypt. Mary, still aching from birth, wrapped her child tightly. Joseph quickly packed what little they had. And together, in the dead of night, they became refugees. They walked unfamiliar roads under moonlight. Dust clung to their feet. The desert stretched on endlessly. There were no guards to protect them. No family to welcome them. Just God leading them through the shadows. Mary held Jesus close, her heart steady even as her world felt fragile. She didn't ask, "Why us?" She simply trusted, even in the dark. As we reflect on their quiet escape, let us pause and ponder. What does it mean to trust God when the path is unknown? To keep walking, even when fear walks beside you. Let these verses speak gently to your heart, as they once did to Mary's. Even in the dark, He goes ahead of you. I will go before you and level the mountains. When the world threatens, His light still leads. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Even on foreign ground, God gives peace. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4:2-8. You're never alone, even in the wilderness. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. You may not see them, but heaven guards you. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear Him, and He delivers them. You are sheltered even while running. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. Have you ever felt like life suddenly pushed you into the unknown? Like something familiar was ripped away, and all you had was fear. Mary and Joseph didn't plan for a midnight escape. But they trusted, even in the dark. God doesn't always explain the why before asking us to move. Sometimes, His protection looks like a detour. Sometimes, His love feels like a disruption. But what feels like a setback is often how God is setting you up for something greater. Mary wasn't in control, but she stayed close to the one who was. So if life has led you to a place that feels uncertain, don't fear the journey. Trust the one who leads. Have you ever walked through your own Egypt? A season of hiding, of waiting, of wondering what comes next. If that's you, write in the comments. Even here, I trust you, God. Because Mary's path wasn't easy, but it was holy. And so is yours. Let your yes continue. Wherever the road leads. Have you ever wondered why so much of Jesus' life was hidden? We celebrate His birth, we witness His miracles, and we remember the cross. But for 30 years, silence, no stage, no spotlight, no grand announcement, just ordinary days in a quiet village. But what if that season wasn't empty, but essential? What if those quiet years of Jesus' life speak directly to the parts of our lives that feel unseen? God doesn't only move in the miraculous. He is just as present in the mundane. Sometimes heaven's greatest work happens behind closed doors, in hidden places, in faithful routines, and in hearts that quietly say yes, day after day. Mary and Joseph returned to Nazareth after Egypt, not to fame or recognition, but to normal life. Joseph worked with his hands. Mary kept the home, and Jesus grew, not as a child king in a palace, but as a carpenter's son in a forgotten town. Imagine Mary watching him day after day. She cooked for him, washed his clothes, taught him how to speak, how to pray, how to serve. She saw the Son of God, skin scraped from play, hands dirty from wood shavings, laughter echoing through their humble home. 30 years of quiet faithfulness. No miracles recorded, no crowds following. Just obedience, growth, love. And all the while heaven was watching. The King was being formed in silence, as the story fades into quiet days in Nazareth. Let us pause to reflect. What does it mean when God hides us in the ordinary? God often hides His greatest works in seasons of silence. Mary raised the Son of God in a town that most people forgot. Maybe your hidden season is holy too. You are not forgotten. God knows your name. But Zion said, "The Lord has forsaken me. The Lord has forgotten me." Can a mother forget the baby at her breast? I will not forget you. Isaías 49, 14-15. Even in silence, God is working. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. The ordinary is where holiness grows. Whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. 1 Coríntios 10:31. Hidden seasons are sacred seasons. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Your unseen faithfulness is seen by heaven. Your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Matthew 6:26. You're not hidden. You're being prepared. Humble yourselves under God's mighty hand, that He may lift you up in due time. 1 Peter 5-6. You may not be running from a king, but perhaps you're fleeing fear, heartbreak, or failure. Like Mary and Joseph, you don't need to know the full map. You just need to follow the next step in obedience. God protects not only the mighty, but the tired, the afraid, and the faithful. Even when the road is dark and unfamiliar, He is your light. And He goes before you. Have you ever felt like you were on the run, spiritually, emotionally, or mentally? Write in the comments, God, guide my steps. Don't let fear tell your story. Let faith guide your next move. From the beginning, Mary knew her child was different. But nothing could have prepared her for the day she stood beneath a Roman cross, watching Him die a death meant for criminals. What mother could endure such agony? And yet, she stayed. She stayed through the pain, through the darkness, until the third day dawned with glory. The road to Calvary was lined with tears, blood, and disbelief. Jesus, beaten and crowned with thorns, stumbled under the weight of a wooden cross. And Mary, she followed. She heard the cries. She saw His wounds. And when the nails pierced His hands, her own soul felt the sword foretold by Simeon. They mocked Him, the one she had cradled, the one who turned water into wine. Now, they spat on Him. But Mary did not run. She stood beneath the cross, held by nothing but faith and love. As His body gave out, He looked down and saw her. And even in death, He honored her, entrusting her to John, a mother who gave everything, a son who gave more. But this was not the end. Because 3 days later, the stone rolled away, and Mary saw the empty tomb and knew death had not won. As we stand with Mary beneath the cross, let us pause to reflect on love that endures pain and faith that stays even when hope seems lost. Love that stays ... is love that saves. But standing by the cross of Jesus were His mother. John 19:25. God sees you when you stay faithful in the hardest place. A sword will pierce through your own soul also. Luke 2:35. Even in suffering, He sees you. When Jesus saw His mother, He said, "Woman, behold your son." John 19:26. In your tears, God makes promises. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5-4. Nothing offered in love is wasted. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Matthew 10:39. The cross is not the end, it's the door to resurrection. Weeping may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 32:5. Do you feel like you're standing beneath a cross today? Have you said yes to God, only to find yourself in a place of pain? You're not alone. Mary didn't understand everything, but she trusted the one who called her. And so can you. When all seems lost, stay. When prayers go unanswered, stay. When your heart breaks, stay. Faith that stays is faith that overcomes. If you're walking through sorrow but still holding on, comment, God, I will stay. He sees your pain, He honors your faith, and just like Mary, your faith will not be forgotten.